Now, this box here contains something that might be very, very handy for our job. I know Nicole will appreciate it because she's sick of walking in and out of the dairy to warm milk for calves every single evening. Another problem that we do have sometimes is when our milk lorry does go and our tank does a cycle of a wash, sometimes we don't have enough hot water to heat all the milk for calves, especially when you have a lot of calves at one time and you're feeding them kind of individual. Sometimes the water just does not be warm enough for feeding all the calves, and it has been an issue this last few years. We always make it work. Another thing is when the power went off, it's left us with no hot water at all. We have a different little heater here, and one that I'm curious about. I don't know how it'll turn out, but I'm curious about it because it's gas and gas only, but there's no electric supply to this whatsoever. I've been told it's very easy to fit. I've seen a few videos on it. So I'm interested in trying it out. This was sent out to us by Country Farm Supplies at a discount, and hence the reason this video is sponsored by Country Farm Supplies, and all the appropriate links and things will be in the description if you want to go and check one out for yourself. Thanks very much for them for doing that. The next thing we need to do now is just get it up on the wall. It shouldn't be that difficult because we have a mains water pipe coming there that's feeding a drinker. So it's only a matter of taking a mains down here. I might actually take two, one for cold water as well. So let's get it on the wall first. I'm thinking around about here. Might be the best place because it's beside the door. There's a good fall on the ground there, so any water that gets spilt runs out fairly quickly. Yeah, I think somewhere in around this location. Now I have opened the box, but I haven't took it out yet. Manual, read it after. I suppose it's kind of like an electric shower. Looks kind of like an electric shower, pump shower. So first of all, sorry if there's a different level in volume. I've took the mic off because it's kind of in the way, and sometimes that increases the volume. But it came with these little lads here. So I'm going to drill 2 holes and fit these onto the wall. Alright, so stick this boy on. So then the next thing I need to do is, by high precision, make sure that it's straight. Right, so there comes a gas hose with it. So I put some tape on the thread and we're just going to thread that up. And just make sure it's nice and snug, but just going by what it said, don't over tighten. We have a mains water supply ahead of us there on the very top. You only need 1 feed in, but I want to put 2 and just have an extra tap here for cold water. You never know, even your power washing out of the house here, I don't have to run a reel or anything in, so having just a tap here will be very handy. So I'm going to stick you on a time lapse because it's going to take me a while. I don't want to video every minute or it'll be here for a couple of hours. So time lapse it is, and we get these taps hooked up. So this is the outlet. I'm going to stick a quick connector on there. I've got one of these little hoses, down hoses, which I'm going to leave as much pipe as I can, not too much, but enough. I just connect this up, put a GB clip on it. One final job to do is to put batteries in this. So this guy goes here. Alright, yep. And this one goes the opposite way. And that is just for the igniting of the gas. Now dare I say it, everything's hooked up and everything seems to be alright. There's no leaks so far. A wee leak on this buck here, which I can change out. Seems to be alright now. I tightened it up a bit, but that's an old quick attach, so I'll pick one of them up for it. But otherwise, there's not going to be any pressure on that anyway, because every time we're not using this, we're going to turn the water off. The gas is now hooked up too. So just a real breakdown, we have 2 taps. One is just purely for cold water. You don't have to put that in yourself. It's just cold water for me is going to be handy. I left it here, put 2 screws in and just a nozzle in the end. The girls will love that. But it'll just make it handy when you're washing out a shed. It's great to have a tap in every shed. So they might be a bit wonky. And that's not my fault because the 2 brass fittings are completely different. This one's a lot deeper than this one, and you can see. So I'm going to use that as an excuse anyway. But we brought up the 2 pipes, put a T-joiner here, an 80 degree there, and then straight up and connect it with a T-joiner on the top onto the mains. Now, I didn't fix anything to the wall because I want to come in here and cover this whole thing with insulation. Just insulate everything. The other hose is hooked up here, the outlet coming along here. And I got an old stabilizer or an old bicycle. Put that on the wall so that can hang like that. I have a nozzle then just for the hot water pouring into the bucket, just a wee bit more control. And that's really it. That's it all hooked up. Then we have our gas here, which is the red cylinder, is what this takes. Now I've seen pictures of this before, and lads were all using the bigger cylinder. Believe it or not, I struggled to find the bigger cylinder. I looked in a heap of local places and I couldn't get it. And this is the only thing, and I had to travel 40 minutes to get it. And it's the only one I could get. So we'll make do with that one for now. Long term, I don't want to leave it there. What I might do is build a bracket, which will be quite easy here on the wall, lift the cylinder up and build it that'll hold the bigger cylinder, and just have a kind of a frame around it that protects it so nothing can hit against it, and some sort of a ratchet strap belt around the front of it, just like a MIG welder gas cylinder on the back of a MIG welder. Otherwise than that, we're ready to rock, test it out and hope for the best. So first thing to do is turn on our water. Turn on our gas. I take it in, we just run the water through it. Oh yeah, you see the flame? So it comes on automatically when you run the tap. Alright, now we have her all hooked up. I had to make a few changes because it just wasn't working the way it should. Not this, the way I had it plumbed up. So I done away with the quick connect on the hot outlet. Instead I used this heavier pipe that I got before for doing the drinkers up in the other house. I got a roll of it. And it's much better, it can handle hot water. And it doesn't kink, it doesn't go all flopsy or whatever when the water's hot. And it doesn't leak as quick or bust, because the last thing you want is water at 65 degrees and a pipe busting on you. So I don't know where the quick connect, straight up into the nozzle, GB clip and everything. Much, much safer. Now, I did notice a couple of things about it. One good thing we have here, we've great water pressure. I don't know how many bar it is, I've never tested it, but there is a good pressure of water. So on this here you have 2 knobs, that's all you have. And one is to control, this one here is to control the amount of water that's coming in. So maximum amount of water being fed to minimum. So this is just like another tap inside to control the amount of water that's passing through. This one here is your temperature of your water. So I have it turned up to max at the minute because I want to get the full temperature out of it. And then the idea is, depending on the pressure of your water, the more you increase the water being fed in, and now you notice I have it on minimum, but the more you increase it, the faster the water will come out of here, okay? But it won't be as hot because you're putting more water through it and it's not getting long enough to heat it. So that is kind of the way the trick of the thing works. Problem I have is when I turn mine down to minimum, because we have still got a lot of pressure coming in, it wasn't heating the water. It was only leaving it a bit lukewarm. It wasn't heating it very warm at all. So I have the tap now turned on half. And I've been messing around with it for a wee while till I found a sweet spot, and I think I have it now. So I'm going to fill this into a bucket of water, and I have a little digital thermometer here that I'm going to check to see what the temperature is at, because I'd like it to be around about 65 degrees. Bear in mind, it all depends what you're using it for. When we swap over to milk replacer, then I can afford to probably turn the tap on fully, because I won't want the water as hot. I don't need to add any cold water to it. I can just feed it directly from here. For now, when I'm feeding the young calves or unsweet milk, I do put a steel bucket into a plastic bucket, put hot water around it. That's just the way I heat my milk, so I want it as hot as I can get it, because the hotter it is, the quicker it's going to heat that milk. I hope you kind of follow me. So I want to get it as hot as I possibly can. So when it's hot, you're obviously going to have a slower feed, but I'm fine with the speed that's coming out of it. It matches more or less what's coming out of the one in the dairy as well. So we're going to put some hot water in a bucket here and see how hot we can actually get it. 51, 55, 7. You see that? 60 degrees. They say 65 degrees on the brochure. 60 is where I'd be comfortable with, because I wouldn't like to turn that tap down any further. Get a nice spray out there at the same time, but if you went any lower, I'd be worried that you might overheat this. Maybe not, but to me, it seemed if I went any lower, the flame would cut out. As I say, when you're feeding calves with milk replacer, you don't need to be adding cold water to it, so you might as well eliminate the add of cold water, just set it to the temperature that you want for feeding your milk replacer, and you'll find you'll have a good bit of pressure. It seems that it's going to be grand, so I'll set it at 30 and let's see what it's like. There is bang on 30. Right, it's 31. As you can see, there's a great fill at that. And that's a good spray that's on that there. You couldn't ask for much better. But anyway, that's it. It's a job done. I'll not know much more about it until I use it. That's the truth. I'm going to have to use it for a few weeks. I'll be fit to tell you then exactly what I think of it. And I will.